Today I want to go through 5 iconic rhythm patterns that define 5 different cool musical genres, starting with the easiest to the hardest. Let's get to it.
Nowadays, everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish, and motherfuckers act like they forgot about trade.
So in hip hop, this pattern of arpeggiating down a chord in a constant rhythm, followed by 2 upbeats that break out of that pattern, is pretty common. So we're playing these 2 chords. So we got the G minor and then the E flat major. Then with the pattern, it goes like. So a couple things to note here. So first, notice how I'm palm muting the notes as I'm arpeggiating down the chord. And then another thing is that notice how the rhythm is quite choppy or just staccato. So I mute the strings in between each note I'm playing, like this, versus letting them ring out like. In terms of chords to use, it's pretty free, but I find that 7th chords, especially minor 7th chords, work pretty well. So let's try a new chord progression. So I'm gonna do the A minor to the D minor 7 and see how that sounds with this pattern. A bonus hip-hop pattern that's similar to this one, where the first half is a constant rhythm, followed by the second half that breaks out of that rhythm, is this one that can be played over any chord too. So strum down twice, followed by a triplet fill at the end, and everything palm muted. So taking the 2 chords, A minor and then D minor 7 as an example again, we can do something like. I actually made a video where I play through a lot of iconic hip-hop riffs by Eminem, so check it out for inspiration if you're interested. Next, moving on to country and bluegrass music. So in country and bluegrass music, it's common to alternate between picking and strumming in what's known as the boom chicka rhythm. So basically we start with a chord and we pick the first bass note, and then we strum down up, and then we pick the second bass note, do the same thing, and then down up. So it goes like. Sounds pretty cool. One way to vary up the pattern is to play everything palm muted. So if we played everything palm muted, it would go like this. Kind of interesting. We can also alternate between palm muting the bass notes and strumming the chord. So like. In terms of chords to use, it's common to use open chords whenever possible with the 1-4-5 blues progression. So could try something like. Next, onto a similar genre with a super cool pattern, the blues. So in blues, the most popular pattern is what's known as a shuffle. So what we do is we strum up once and make sure we really dig into the strings and leave a trace as we strum up. And then we strum down and then wait a little bit before repeating this pattern. So it goes like. And for this pattern, instead of just playing the chords straight up, it's common to play the chord tones instead. So for example, on the song Pride and Joy earlier by Stevie Ray Vaughan, we have the 2 chords, E minor and A minor, but we do something more like. So what's happening here on the riff is that, so I hit the note, my down strum, and then on the up strum, I play the open strings before moving on to the next note. But this only works because the song happens to be in the key of E minor. So the open strings are part of the E minor chord. But let's say I want to play this on a different key, on a different part of the neck. Then what I have to do then is to mute the strings on the up strum. So for example, let's try playing in the key of A minor. So I'm going to do A minor, D minor, see how that sounds. The benefit of playing in the key of E minor is just that on the guitar you can do some flashy fills with open strings. For example, on the song Pride and Joy, again, Stevie Ray Vaughan occasionally omits the last note and then does a flashy open string fill like this. So he does this open E minor to kind of F sharp minor fill. Next, moving on to jazz for a really classic pattern. So on jazz, specifically gypsy jazz, this double downstrum pattern is pretty popular. So what we do is we strum down on a chord, mute it right away, and then strum again and then mute it. So it's like, but one thing we could do too is to add a partial upstrum, muted upstrum, before our first downstrum. So it goes like, what's happening is I'm really just strumming maybe like 2 notes up and muted. So not letting any notes ring out. It's more just for flair. So on the song Minor Swing by Django Reinhardt that I played earlier, we got these 3 chords, A minor, D minor, and then E7. And with this pattern, it would sound like. One way to vary up the pattern and make it sound more laid back is to, on the second strum, just hit muted strings. So something like. Another thing you can do is to omit this subtle upstrum on the last chord as you're transitioning back to the first chord for a more dramatic kind of transition effect. So something like. Now moving on to my favorite rhythm pattern of all, reggae. So in reggae, we got what's known as the double skank technique or rhythm. So what we do is we do an up strum, followed by a down up, and then we wait a little bit before repeating this pattern. So it goes like. And what's happening as we play a chord is that we actually only play the chord on the first downstrum and the second upstrum, and we immediately mute the chords otherwise. So it goes like. And that's really the trickiest part, making sure the chord only rings out on the first downstrum and second upstrum, and also making sure that it only rings out for an instant. It's not like ring out for a long time, like. And it's more like. It's a very choppy feel. And it's common to use bar chords with this pattern, so it's easier to mute the strings. So on the Bart Marley song, This Is Love that I played earlier, we got these 3 chords, F sharp minor, D major, and then A major. Just a super sick pattern that adds so much to a chord progression. Just by changing up the rhythm pattern, the vibe of a song or riff completely changes. If you're interested in learning more about other cool patterns and techniques to use for an interesting sound, check out this video where I talk about 7 underrated techniques behind iconic guitar solos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.